ברוכים הבאים לפודקאסט של שפות-שלי, בית ספר לאנגלית ושפות נוספות. יש לנו פרק מיוחד היום. I have a nice guest with us today בשם אריה.
Hi everybody, nice to meet you.
היי אריה, איך אתה היום?
אני מצוין, תודה רבה שהזמנת אותי לדבר על משהו שאני מאוד אוהב לעשות ושקרוב לליבי, ואני שמח לדבר על זה.
Alright, so it's a pleasure having you. The reason we got you today on this episode is because you deal with the U.S Housing Market, עם השוק הנדל"ן בארצות הברית, ואתה הולך להסביר לנו על זה קצת היום. We're going to speak in English, okay, get some new vocabulary. We're going to speak about what you do and what, you know, a lot of people are interested in investment, overseas investment, property market especially is always a good investment. זה יהיה מעניין גם בשבילי לשמוע קצת איך זה עובד, how that market works. So let's get started. Okay.
Yeah, I'm ready.
We're ready to go. As you're Israeli, right? You were born and bred in Israel, correct?
That is correct, yeah. I was born in Netanya and currently I live in Tel Aviv.
Okay, and you live in Tel Aviv. And you currently work with the U.S. market, right?
Yes.
The clients are from the U.S.
Correct, yeah.
Okay. As explain to us just a little bit about what you do. What is your business, literally? You know, what's your day-to-day job entails, and what do you do?
Okay, so first of all, my business is focusing on something that is very niche. Basically, on a nutshell, what we're doing is locating off-market properties in the U.S., specifically currently in Indianapolis, Indiana, and we're getting these off-market properties discounted, and then we sell it to investors that would like to purchase those properties. They're going to purchase it, they're going to repair it, and then going to rent it, or they're going to sell it. So they can either collect rent or make a profit when selling the property after it was renovated.
אוקיי, אז ואתם עובדים רק באינדיאנפוליס, נכון?
נכון, כרגע, נכון לפרק הזה, אנחנו עובדים רק באינדיאנפוליס, כשיש כוונות בעתיד גם להתרחב לשווקים אחרים.
Okay. You know what I know about Indianapolis? What's famous about Indianapolis?
I have no idea.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you. The Indy 500, the race, the car racing, that's what I know. I know they have a big track. I just said it by Tom Cruise about the Indy 500.
Yeah.
It's called Thunder. Said it Magniv. You guys should watch it if you enjoy a classic movie with Tom Cruise in the young days. But how is the property market? How do you make profit in your type of niche business? Okay, you guys are buying, what I understand from what you said before, is you guys are buying actually wholesale properties. Okay, you're looking to buy as much properties and bring in investors who want to renovate and then resell them at a profit. Is that correct?
That is correct. Basically, what we're doing, we're trying to get in touch with people that the likelihood that they would like to sell the property off market and with a discount is higher than the average. So we're targeting people that would probably want to sell their property as is, meaning that they don't have to do any repairs to the property in order to sell it. And
it's good to go. It's good to, you say,
yeah,
they're going to buy it and they're going to look to flip it straight away. And I sort of flip kimad miyadi.
So yeah, so you know, these are the type of people that we're getting in touch with. These are the homeowners.
Okay.
And then we get those properties, and then we sell them to investors that they're getting those properties as is, and they have to put in the work in order to fix it and then make it livable, and then rent it again or sell it.
Okay. And generally, when we talk about the housing market there, the properties that you guys are buying, normally do they require some work, or they're ready to go for a resale? Straight away for resale, or you're looking specifically for properties that need some work done on them?
So probably over 90%, the properties that we're getting are properties that need some kind of repair, some kind of renovation.
Because that's where the biggest profit margin, פה יש מקום לעשות רווח בעצם? Or why? Or do just the way, you know, because of usage?
So yeah.
שלגים.
כן. בדרך כלל אנשים שמחפשים למכור בצורה שאנחנו עובדים בה, לא מעוניינים להשקיע כסף בשביל למכור. הצורה שהשוק בנדל"ן בארצות הברית עובד, זה על מנת למכור את הנכס, אתה בדרך כלל צריך לתקן בו כמה דברים, על מנת שמתווך יסכים לשים אותו במרקט, למכור אותו, ולכן אנחנו נקראים באוף מרקט. לעבוד עם מתווך זה נקרא ב-on the market.
Okay, so now you basically breaking it down for us. זה טוב, כי בוא נגיד, אין לי את הרקע בנדל"ן, כמובן שיש לך off market, on market, what that means. אז בוא שנייה נחדד למאזינים שלנו. If it's on market, it means that my property is livable, it looks nice, an estate agent will come in, you'll make it look maybe a little bit nicer, maybe, but not much investment is needed. And he can straight away put it back in the market and try to sell it, right? And I can get, and it'll take some time. You guys, what you guys do is you have an off-market business, which means that you're targeting people who need money urgently now, who want to sell, and they're not willing to improve their asset or improve their property to sell. They want to get rid of it right now, okay? And the one who would buy it would put in the renovation, he would sell it then at a profit. So his margin would be to basically renovate for cheap and sell as high as possible.
Correct, yeah. So again, there are two major possibilities. One is to purchase a property, renovate it, and then rent it, or purchase a property, renovate it, and then sell it with a profit. Usually, when you're flipping the property, meaning that you're gonna buy, fix, and sell it, then your renovation is gonna be a little bit more of high end. You want to make the renovation more appealing. Because remember, in the end, you want to list it on the market with a realtor, meaning that, you want to make the house look nice, and you have to make sure that, it's gonna match.
Sell.
It's gonna match the what's going on in that micro area. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I understand. But okay, so as an investor, is it short term? Is it a short term move or is it a long term move? עכשיו אני כמשקיע. אוקיי, בוא נפרק את זה שנייה. יש לנו את הבן אדם שהוא מוכר, הוא צריך את הכסף מהיר, he needs the cash quick. Then we got the investor is coming in, he's picking up the property, he's renovating it. Now, is he looking for quick flip? Is he generally looking for quick movement here? Or is it always just saying, no, I'm going to wait for the market to naturally appreciate the asset, plus I'm going to renovate it, and I'm going to sit in it till it gives me the yield.
So this kind of investor would purchase that property on a discount. So let's just put in some numbers so it will be more clear. Let's say the property worth 100 and the investor in that case would like to purchase it for like 60 or 65. He's going to put in like 5 or 10 Ks. And then basically he will be all in at about 75 Ks. For a property that's worth 100 Ks.
Okay.
So it's not gonna wait for the market to be appreciated. He initially buy it at a discount.
Okay. And how is that discount valued? Normally by the seller, or do you guys do negotiation, משא ומתן? How do you bring him to that lowest, to the תחתית, to the bottom, to the price bottom? How is that price bottom determined? Is it determined by the market? Is there some people, what does it depend how desperate the person is for cash at that moment, or is it a mixture of both?
So we have to understand it's a win-win scenario. We're basically dealing with property owners that would like to get rid of their property, but they don't have any money in order to list it on the market. It will be hard to them. It will be difficult for them to find a realtor that will help them sell the property as is. Most realtors would like them to spend some money, spend some money in order to list it on the market. So basically what we do, we reach out to those property owners and we buy it as is. So they need money, and we can provide them with a fast closing and a cash transaction, meaning that we don't need a lender, meaning that we don't need to work with a bank.
Mortgages, משכנתאות, you cut that out.
Correct. Yeah.
It's immediate cash.
Correct.
Okay.
And the process is much shorter than the conventional process.
I understand. Okay. Now, let's say we're talking about a 100K property in the area of Indianapolis, for example. Discounted, normally what are the discounted percentages that we're looking at? Is it 20% discount for property needs work? Obviously, it depends on the amount of work that's needed. How do you guys evaluate that? You guys have professionals that come and evaluate the amount of work that needs to be done, because you need to be very precise here. It's a very, very tight numbers game, what you guys are doing. It requires serious math. זה דורש חשבון מאוד רציני פה, כי if you make a mistake with the evaluation of the repairs and you מגלה that the house is problematic, and maybe the plumbing or something big, the roof is leaking, and you got another 10 grand bill, maybe that's your entire profit on the entire transaction, right? So how do you avoid נקרא לזה סטיות כאלה that you don't come out at a loss? The investors, how do they avoid it? Are the investors generally people who are property savvy in terms of, and are they אנשי מקצוע? זאת אומרת, do they have knowledge about what repairs are needed? Do they know about repairs? Or they, people who deal with construction? Is it generally constructors who are doing this, or is it just private individuals looking on for a flip?
So first of all, I have to mention that all of the investors that I'm working with, or the majority of them, are Americans. So basically, these are generally investors that are working within that market. Could be big companies that are buying, and they're working on multiple markets. And one of the markets, for example, is Indianapolis, Indiana. So, and they have their own processes. They have their own general contractor that will come into the property, and then they will check and have their estimate about what are the repairs that are needed. It's fast for us. We're trying to understand by the first from the description of the owner about the condition of the property, and of course we ask him some questions about the condition of the property. Some of the big ticket items like the roof you mentioned, like what's the condition of the electricity,
the plumbing. What's a big ticket? How do we say big ticket? Big ticket would be, that's a nice term that you said. That's an American term. Big ticket would be like something that's expensive.
Correct.
כרטיס יקר, מה שאומרים.
נכון מאוד, כן. אז בעצם ביג טיקט הכוונה לדברים שעולים הרבה כסף וממש חשוב לדעת אותם, כמו גג, כמו המצב של החשמל, צנרת, מערכת החימום קירור.
They're using air conditioning? So they're using AC there?
So they call it HVAC. Some states would use just an AC.
Okay. What is an HVAC?
Basically, it's also allows you to warm the house.
Okay, I understand. Okay. That's a very American technical term.
Yeah.
Because our ACs here in Israel also warm the house. If I wish to warm the house, I can warm the house as well.
Yeah, but I'm guessing that, they also call it furnace.
Furnace?
Which is...
תנור, כמו תנור.
Correct. נכון. ובעצם התנור הזה בעצם זה, אתה יודע, מדברים פה על אינדיאנפוליס, אז מגיעים שם למינוס 10 ו-15 ב-20 מעלות גם לפעמים. הם מתחת לאפס. אז הקור שם הוא קיצוני, וצריך לדעת להתמודד עם זה.
הבנתי, okay, so it's a different form of heating that we know here, because, my Mazgar would not stand out minus 15. We'll become penguins.
I haven't tried it. But it will be a nice thing to try. Bring our own AC to Indianapolis and see if it works.
Or bring the HVAC here and see if it heats you up in the winter. My wife is always cold. I'm always having an issue that בבית פה בארץ, is that אני והבן שלי, אחד מהבנים שלי הוא קורא לעצמו דוב כותב, קולבר, because we like the cold, okay? אנחנו מחכים לחורף כל השנה patiently. ואז כשזה מגיע, אנחנו בתחתונים מסתובבים ונהנים מהקור, ואשתי כל הזמן מחממת את הבית, רוצה לחמם את הבית גם בחורף, so we have kites all year round, okay? And she is living with 2 polar bears, so it's not a good experience. Now, I want to ask you a few questions about what direction do you see the property market right now in the US going? Because אנחנו פה בארץ, we're seeing a little bit of a slowdown. Okay, the retail has gone down about 0.2%. It's not really a drop. I don't see the property market in Israel dropping at all, I'll be honest with you, because of just the sheer pressure of the population here. They're talking about in 20 years we'll have 20 million people living in Israel or something like that, something absurd. So the supply here will never be able to keep up with the demand. So I don't think we're going to see property drops. לא משנה מה יגידו לכם, אבל don't bank on a property drop here. There will be a climb, and my estimation is there'll be another 10-15% rise in Israeli property ב-2024, but I'm not an expert. I'm just dealing with a different field completely, but I'm tracking it as a fan on the outside who knows a little bit of economics. What do you see going on in the American market, and how do you think this will play out?
So first of all, in the U.S., the situation is pretty much the same. There is shortage of housing in the States. So right now we're in a special point where we saw the interest rate going up, and it's the interest rate used to be a zero interest rate for a long time, and then suddenly it spikes. It spikes, and that made the market to shake,
to cool down,
to shake, to understand what's going on, where are we headed with it, what's going to happen. I think that's generally speaking. Obviously, in each state you might see some different things, but generally speaking, that cooled down
the property,
the housing market in the States, but you can see that it's not a catastrophe. People do understand it's not like the 2008 crisis. Okay, so it's more expensive to purchase a property right now for the average Joe. Because he has to pay more interest rate, he has to pay more. The monthly payment is higher than it used to be. So it's cooling down.
Okay,
and if we apply it all to Israel as well, I think it's pretty much the same condition. So if we're gonna look at the next 2 years, I think we're gonna see some cool down, both in Israel and the U.S. But by and large, you're right. There's shortage. When there is a shortage, there's demand, and where there's demand, the pricing are rising.
Okay, but the only thing that's really dampening demand, is causing a slowdown in demand, okay, is basically the fact that interest rates are high. So if someone needs financing, the average Joe or an investor, he's going to think twice about taking on the property and paying insane interest rates, right? So that's the factor that's maybe cooling the market right now. The question is when you see what are we talking about right now in terms of the interest rates? How much is the interest rates then, more or less, on financing? Do you know the ranges?
I don't know what the banks are offering, and how much investors are paying for private lenders. Because personally, I'm not using any kind of financing on the properties, but it's definitely not zero. So whatever it is, everything is more expensive right now, and it goes for everything that we're dealing with in the day-to-day life. So everything is more expensive because the money is more expensive, and if you're in a business that is based on some kind of a loan, then your expenses are higher than it used to be, and it's getting higher. So you need to kind of deal with it, and the way to deal with it is pretty much shutting down or try to raise prices, or you have to deal with it. So everything is
getting more expensive.
Getting more expensive, or you see some also on the opposite way. Prices are dropping. There's less demand because the buying power of the citizens is getting smaller and smaller. So people can't afford themselves buying So thus, commodities are getting less expensive.
Okay. I'm going to ask you the $1 million question. Okay. When is a good time to buy?
So I think the best answer for it would be in real estate, you make money when purchasing real estate. So, and what does that mean? So it means that you have to buy correctly. That means that you have to buy on a discount to be safe. And this is something every investor that studying his first investment steps. He knows that. He knows he has to buy below market value, and this is how he can ensure that he's safe. So if the market is gonna go down by 15%, and he bought like 20% discount, he's in a safe spot.
Okay, good. That is a smart answer. Okay, and the question is the discount rates in America. In Israel, you don't see that really. Okay, you don't see that much of a discount. Let's say, we're talking about interior. Sometimes you'll get an apartment which looks very nice on the inside. It'll be priced very similar to an apartment which is maybe needs a bit of work done on the inside. Israelis don't really put on too much of an dagesh, okay, on how the property looks on the inside. They're going more like per square meter, okay, and they're actually stripping it down. They're saying, you know what, we don't care if you made your apartment the kingdom or you made your apartment a cave. Okay, what matters to us is the square meters in that area. So the market is really just going per square meter generally, okay, and then it cleans out that, which isn't that smart either, because if you're savvy, if you're a construction guy here, I think you can make a lot of money, because people would prefer, obviously, and it's easier to sell an apartment which looks a little bit better than a cave, right?
That is very true. Yeah,
but there was still, the difference is the market is pricing them very similar. The discount isn't that big as you would find in the US. That's why the room for margin here and profit is a lot smaller, a lot more dangerous. Also, you're gambling with a lot more money. But my opinion is the property market's never a gamble. Long term, it's always going to go up. It's probably one of the best. It's the only asset which always appreciates. It's the only asset that if you have money, buy an asset as early and as young as you can. אם אתם young professionals כרגע, תחפשו כמה שיותר לקנות סוג של נכס, שהוא דיור. And it's the best type of thing that you can do in your life, because it will add your value. It will keep your worst case scenario. It will keep your net worth intact and fight against inflation if you don't make money on it. But to lose on property is very, very difficult. You must make a very bad move. In Israel, it's unlikely, extremely unlikely. In America, I'm sure it can happen if you buy some apartment that requires extreme work, like you're saying, big ticket numbers. But anyways, even in the long run, I think that will still pay out. You see long term in the, let's say, 5-10 years, what is, מה אחוזי growth שם, מה אחוזי רווח שם, מה אני אקרא לזה capital gains, כמה הערך של הנכס עולה. בוא נגיד, אתה רואה בארץ, בוא נגיד עכשיו אנחנו ראינו לפני קורונה ואחרי קורונה, שיגעון, הנכסים עלו 100% כמעט. היה לנו פה אזורים שעלו בצורה מסיבית, זאת אומרת דיור שהיה דירות שעלו 2.7, 2.5, יכולת לקנות דירות באזור הרצליה, פתאום עולים 5 מיליון, 5,200, הם עלו כמעט 100% בתקופת הקורונה. היה זה, פתאום השוק התיישר בצורה מאוד מאוד מהירה עם המחירים. השאלה בארצות הברית, אם היה סוג של ג'אמפ כזה, חוויתם ג'אמפ כזה בזמן הקורונה ואחרי קורונה, של 100%, כאילו בוא נגיד בתים שעלו $50,000, פתאום עולים 100, או 100, או אלה שעלו 100, פתאום עולים 200, או שאתה ראית את זה משהו שיותר הדרגתי?
בנוגע לעלייה במחירים, כן, בהחלט היה שינוי. לא הייתי אומר של 100%, אבל הייתה באמת תקופה של הקורונה, שבאמת נכסים שם פשוט היו מוצאים לשוק. אני מדבר על נכסים שהם on the market, יוצאים לשוק ופשוט נמכרים יותר ממה שמבקשים עליהם. פשוט הייתה תחרות מטורפת על הבתים, והיה תקופה של באמת שיגעון, באמת היה שם ביקוש עצום, והמחירים עלו.
מה הפסיכולוגיה מאחורי זה? אתה קשה להבין לפעמים. What's the psychology behind it? I mean, you got a big virus, a pandemic, the economy doesn't look good, and people are buying a property very, like crazy. maybe you can explain as well, like the high-tech bubble, you know, מה היה הבועה של ההייטק פתאום גם, שעכשיו מתחיל לייצר. אותו דבר, הנדל"ן וההייטק רגע הולכים יד ביד, הם כרגע מתחילים now to cool down, לעבור אזור של cool down, כל הימים מפזרים כסף בשמאל וימין, ופתאום different, you know, the market's changed. Do you understand the psychology behind the change? I'm talking about what would drive the psychology.
Yeah.
אני, כאילו, בזמן הקורונה, אם אתה ישבת בבית ואמרת לעצמך, אוקיי, אני עכשיו, I need to go to America, I need to buy houses.
So I think, and this is just assuming, I think there's something that has to do with the tangible assets, like real estate, as opposed to, you know, investing in stocks. So there's a difference over there.
Personally, I prefer tangible asset any day. אתה נותן לי stock, או אתה נותן tangible asset, אבל זה כבר משהו פסיכולוגי אישי, אבל if you take, בוא נקרא לזה stocks, מניות גם יכולים לעשות לך אותו תשואה כמו נדל"ן, בסופו של דבר, anything can happen, but לנדל"ן אתה תמיד נשאר עם הקירות. It's tangible, right? What is tangible? Tangible זה מה שאתה יכול לגעת בזה, it's real.
נכון. So in environment of 0% interest rate, when it was in these days, back at that time, then, you know, I think that maybe there was some kind of, I don't know, some kind of demand, some kind of demand to diverse or to build a portfolios of investment that, you know, can bring back some cap rate. And I think they wanted to create something that can produce some money by leasing properties. So there were a lot of big companies that were buying tons of properties, and they had specific type of property that they were looking for, and they would buy it like crazy. So and I believe that you know, behind those big companies there were investors, or they would have been like some kind of part of other big investment companies that would like to diverse their investments also with real estate. So, you know, they will take like some real estate, they will take some stocks, they would take some other investment, you know, other options, and you know, they will do some kind of a mix. So I don't know, this is just me guessing, but I think that we're seeing the correction right now. We're seeing the market is cooling down, and we're seeing the demand is going down. It's not as high as it used to be, and the prices will, you know, pretty much are not dropping at the same rate that they went up, but you know, you see the difference. It's not like it used to be.
I understand. Okay. Thank you so much for coming on today. יש לנו פה את המפיק התוכנית, כבר מסמן לנו, we got to wrap this one up. Thank you for your insights. It was a real eye-opener for me. I enjoyed, obviously I follow and track property markets a lot in Israel and globally. I'm always interested to hear, and I'm sure any business people, לא משנה איזה תחום, תמיד תקפו אחרי הכלכלה והנדל"ן, because it affects your pocket directly. For example, now, אם אתם מחזיקים משכנתה בישראל, ורוב האוכלוסייה פה יש להם משכנתה כלשהי על הדיור שלהם, מה שקורה פה כרגע שבדרך כלל מסלולי משכנתה מחולקים לשליש, שזה ריבית קבועה, ריבית פריים פלוס וריבית פריים מינוס. הפריים כרגע הוא כבר, אם אתה בפריים פלוס, אתה כבר מדבר על ריביות של 6% מעל, אז תיגשו לבנק, תיצרו קשר עם היועץ משכנתאות שלכם, דחוף, תיגשו לבנק עכשיו, ואם יש לכם 200, 300, 100,000 שקל, 50,000 שקל, לא משנה מה, כדי לסגור את החלק מהפריים פלוס מסלול בבנק, תטפלו בזה בהקדם. למה? כי אם אתם רואים כל חודש עולה לכם המשכנתה, מ-1,000, 1,500, 2,000 שקל עלייה במה ששילמתם, אם לפני זה אתם משלמים 7, ופתאום זה נהיה בום, 9, בגרפס וחצי, אז it's time to go and speak to יועץ משכנתאות ולטפל במסלול שלכם שמדובר פה על הפריים פלוס ריבית. אוקיי, אז להרבה מכם זה סינית על מה שאני דיברתי, sounds like Chinese, אבל go to your banker, that's my advice, right?
ואם זה נשמע לכם סינית, יש לכם פה מישהו שמבין בשפות ולא רק בנדל"ן.
נכון. So, if it sounds like Chinese, צרו איתנו קשר and we can go through the סינית גם כן. Thank you for listening. I mean, always keep improving your English. Ari, your English is awesome. It's great. I know you've got a little bit of ums in your speech. We have ways of helping that as well. You're welcome to join us sometime because you're thinking in Hebrew, but you're doing a good job speaking English. Your English is high level. I know you work with the US and they understand you. I understand you, and it was a pleasure listening to you today. You have very strong insights. So thank you for coming on our show today.
Thank you, and thank you for the whole team for being here and supporting this great show. And thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you so much. אנחנו נתראה שוב שבוע הבא. אם יש לכם נושאים שאתם רוצים שאנחנו נדבר עליהם, נא לשלוח אימייל כרגיל ל-info@שפות-שלי.co.il או לרשום לנו בוואטסאפ 053-550-1976. אני אריאל, כמובן הייתי היום עם אריה. אם יש לכם שאלות ספציפיות לגבי שוק הנדל"ן בארצות הברית, השקעות בנדל"ן בארצות הברית, או יש לכם שאלות על הפודקאסט של היום, לא הבנתם משהו, לא משנה באנגלית ועברית, או אתם מעניינים ורוצים עוד פרטים, מוזמנים גם לשלוח לנו וואטסאפ, וכמובן אנחנו ננסה לענות לכם כמה שיותר ענייני, whatever is related to, let's say, improving your English, but if you're interested in the U.S. market and property market, ויש לכם שאלות, obviously we have an expert here, one of our guests, he'll be happy to respond as well. And thank you for listening, תודה רבה, and see you guys again next week. Bye-bye.